Despite the nickname of the Papa Bear, George Halas was not always lovable and cuddly. In fact, he was as tough and as crafty as anyone who ever competed in the NFL.
There comes a knock on the door in the trainer's room, and it's Papa Bear. And the equipment man answers the door, and he said, "Yes, Coach, can I help you?" He says, "Yes, I'd like to speak to Coach Lombardi. It's very urgent." Now, this is 5 minutes before the game, and he walks in, and here are the two coaches by themselves. He says, "Yes, Coach, can I help you?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "Vince, I just want you to know you better have your team ready, because we're going to kick your ass."
The thing that really annoyed me as a competitor when you went to Wrigley Field was that Halas actually sells seats on our bench to patrons of the Bears, and the rope would be right behind you, and the fans would be standing directly behind you with the obscenities in your ear while you're trying to hear what's going on and play a football game. So it was a terrible place to play.
There was one little red-headed son of a bugger up in the behind the ivy fence, and he used to get on me something terrible. You know, "Hey, fatso, when are you going to retire? You're an old man." I said, "I'll get you, you little red-headed son of a bugger." You know.
Halas would do things like that. He had a dog on the sideline that near the close of a game that if he needed a timeout, he had the dog trained to run on the field. It was a little black and white dog.
When you walked into Wrigley Field and you had an Atkins, a Bill George, a Larry Morris, a Joe Fortunato, a Stan Jones, an Ed Obradovich, a Rick Caceres, when you had some of those gorillas looking at you, it was the damnedest situation you ever went into in your life. You better come to play. Come hell or high water, the Bears were going to put a physical beating on you. I don't care whether you won or lost. You're going to know you in the damnedest game you ever been in your whole life.
Coming from the college game and hearing this talk, and all these punches being thrown and the kicking and the gouging and the bad mouth that was going on was incredible. I thought, my God, these guys are unreal. And it was just a typical Lions-Bears thing.
Against the Bears, I said the only way to beat them is just to hit them harder on the first play and put the fear of God and the fear of Walsh into them right off the bat, or whatever your name is. And I said, maybe they'll have a little more respect for you before it's over with. But you're going to get hit, and it's going to hurt.
Nicknamed the Monsters of the Midway, Halas's teams wore their toughness like a badge of honor. No other team so clearly reflected the personality of its head coach.
And one of the stories that actually happened with Halas was the guy who was penalizing the Bears, and Halas said, "Hollering, you stink," you know, in a few uncertain terms. And so the guy walks off another 15 and says, "How do I smell from here?" You know, that's a true story. He was a tyrant up and down the sidelines. He'd run up there and run down, and he wouldn't stay in his box, and he berated the officials. And his vocabulary during the games, you couldn't possibly put it on tape, because he used all the expletives, you know what I'm referring to, bad words and curse words. And people used to come to Wrigley Field just to see Halas, I guess. He'd stomp his hat, but he'd run on the field, and if he got a chance, he'd probably kick a guy.
I saw this overcoated man with his hat run out in the field and literally kick Mac right in the butt. I didn't know who the person was. I just saw, you know, somebody out there doing that.
And he tried to get away, and as he was getting away, I was running in that direction, and I took a lunge and a swing at him, and I just missed him. And I found out later, well, we found out during the looking at a review of the films, that it was George Halas. If I would have hit him, I'm sure he would have felt it.
As I was trying to get up, I saw these brown shoes jump on my hands. Knowing full well who had these shoes, I came up very slowly with my helmet along this brown vest and butted Mr. Halas gently. And with that, of course, the entire Bear bench jumps up, and George puts his arms like this, and he says, "Hold it." And he came towards me, and I never moved, and he threw both arms around me like he was punching. I never moved, and he threw them around me like this, and he pulled me in tight, and he said, "I always wanted you to play for me." And I've never forgotten it.
From the Galloping Ghost to the Kansas Comet, Halas built the team in his own image and made the Bears his personal symbol.